Look closely at the society you are currently living in. We are witnessing a terrifying psychological epidemic, but it is not a virus of the body. It is a sickness of the human spirit. We have built an entire modern culture that actively rewards weakness, monetizes complaining, and celebrates victimhood. In today's world, there is a twisted social currency in being damaged. People wear their trauma, their disadvantages, and their past failures as badges of honor. They build their entire identities around the things that have gone wrong in their lives. And while society will offer you endless sympathy for playing the victim, it will cost you the most valuable thing you possess, your absolute sovereignty. Whenever you blame your circumstances, your genetics, the economy, or your parents for the state of your life, you receive a tiny, pathetic hit of cheap dopamine. It feels good to say, "It is not my fault." It absolves you of the terrifying burden of responsibility. But you must understand the brutal transaction you are making. The exact moment you point your finger outward and blame the external world for your misery, you are voluntarily handing over your power. If your failure is not your fault, then your success is no longer in your control. You reduce yourself to a helpless passenger in the vehicle of your own life, sitting in the back seat, crying about the destination, while refusing to touch the steering wheel. 2,000 years ago, the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus laid down the ultimate framework for mental toughness. Understand who this man was. He was not an emperor like Marcus Aurelius. He was not a wealthy playwright like Seneca. Epictetus was born a slave. He was treated as literal property. His leg was deliberately broken by his master, leaving him crippled for the rest of his mortal life. If anyone in the history of the human race had the absolute right to play the victim, to curse the universe, and to drown in bitter resentment, it was Epictetus. Yet, he became one of the most powerful and influential thinkers to ever live. Why? Because he mastered the dichotomy of control. Epictetus realized that while his physical body was in chains, his mind was entirely untouchable. He wrote, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Read that again and let the gravity of that truth crush your excuses. You cannot control the cards you were dealt at birth. You cannot control the cruelty of other people. You cannot control the sudden, chaotic tragedies of existence, but you possess absolute, dictatorial control over your response. When you internalize this, the illusion of victimhood shatters. You realize that nobody can actually harm your character without your explicit consent. You must understand that complaining is not just a harmless verbal habit, it is a neurological poison. Every single time you complain, your brain releases stress hormones like cortisol. But worse than that, through the process of neuroplasticity, you are physically rewiring the neural pathways in your brain to become more efficient at finding things to be miserable about. You are training your mind to seek out the negative, to amplify the unfairness, and to ignore the opportunities. You become chemically addicted to your own suffering. The modern man wants the reward without the sacrifice. He wants the physique without the brutal hours in the gym, the wealth without the terrifying risk, and the peace of mind without ever facing his own internal demons. When you play the victim, you are arrogantly demanding that the harsh reality of the world adapt to your personal weakness rather than forcing yourself to adapt to the world. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote a profoundly beautiful and violent truth. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Look at the modern obsession with comfort. We avoid friction at all costs. We avoid difficult conversations, we avoid physical exhaustion, and we avoid taking the blame. But without that friction, you remain a dull, unpolished, and fragile stone. You will shatter the moment life actually hits you. The obstacle in front of you is not preventing you from becoming who you are meant to be. The obstacle is the exact tool required to forge you into that person. You must stop viewing hardship as a punishment and start viewing it as a forge. You must abandon the childish, arrogant expectation that life is supposed to be fair. Who told you that the universe owes you fairness? The universe is completely indifferent to your existence. It does not care about your feelings, your plans, or your sense of justice. It is a chaotic arena. Bad things will happen to good people. You will be betrayed. You will face illness. You will experience profound loss. That is not a curse. That is the baseline condition of human mortality. When you face adversity and ask, "Why is this happening to me?" you are asking the question of a coward. You are begging for pity from a void. The Stoic does not ask why. The Stoic asks, "What is this requiring of me?" This brings us to the ultimate, supreme level of mental resilience, the concept of Amor Fati. It translates to the love of one as fate. The great minds of the past did not merely tolerate the suffering of life, they actively embraced it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. You must become that fire. When life throws betrayal, failure, and pain at you, do not shrink away. Do not run to the internet to complain to strangers. Take that pain and use it as fuel. Everything that stands in your way becomes the way. Think about the sheer, undeniable power of a person who operates with this mindset. How can the world possibly defeat someone who looks at every single obstacle as an opportunity to practice virtue? If you lose your job, it is an opportunity to practice resilience. If someone insults you, it is an opportunity to practice emotional control. If you are facing a massive physical challenge, it is an opportunity to forge unbreakable discipline. There is no such thing as a disadvantage when you view the entire world as a gymnasium for your character. The time for making excuses is completely over. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to suddenly appear and fix your life. The politicians do not care about you. The algorithms are designed to keep you weak and distracted. If you want to escape the suffocating mediocrity of the masses, you must take radical, uncompromising ownership of everything in your life. Even if a situation is objectively not your fault, it is still your absolute responsibility to deal with it. Look in the mirror. Whatever reflection is staring back at you is the direct result of the choices you have made and the pain you have avoided. Forgive yourself for the times you played the victim. Let the past die. But from this exact moment forward, refuse to let another excuse cross your mind. Reclaim the steering wheel. Embrace the struggle. Become the architect of your own mind. If you are ready to drop the excuses and build a fortress of mental toughness, subscribe to this channel. We are leaving the victims behind and building an empire of sovereign minds. Leave a comment below with one excuse you are permanently destroying today. I will see you in the next one.